Welcome back to Bull Sessions here on 680 KFEQ. You can email your questions or comments to bull@willcross.net. Once again, here's Randy Baker and agronomist Brad Law.
Back to work, Brad.
Okay.
Good commercials out there, wasn't they?
Yes.
Okay.
Well,
finish. Tell me some more about what's going on.
Well, we were talking about recreational tillage.
Yes.
And we were talking about effective tillage.
Uh-huh.
Okay. A few weeks ago, we talked about mare's tail.
Yes.
Okay. Mare's tail is winter annual.
Yes.
Okay. And it has some spring tendencies. Well, one thing we can do, mare's tail does not like tillage.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. When you put cold, harsh, hard steel out there, we can take it out. You know, that's one thing that works. You know, a lot of people like the disc, but I've got one thing, a little deal about the disc.
Me too, but I want to hear yours.
The cursed disc is a sin in the spring, but it's okay in the fall.
For corn stalks?
For corn stalks or, you know, wheat stubble, or if you've got some...
Not with your ground wet, though.
No, we don't want...
Never do that, Brad.
Not on wet ground. But we can take out those...
Your mare's tail.
You know, break up because, you know, it's hard to be, but when we're to be effectively tillage, you know, you go out there in the spring, you see people just barely hit the ground and they opened it up to air it out and they didn't kill the weeds. That's not effective tillage.
We're focused on, like you said, airing it out and getting the ground temperature to warm up so we can go plant before we should probably.
But if we can be effective in that tillage, you know, okay. Now, I told a story earlier, and I got another one that's a good one.
Okay. Miles, I guess it's all right. He keeps telling stories here. Well, Storybook with Bradley.
Storybook. Okay. Well, back, you know, when I was in high school, we had two matching, or we still got them, but two matching 4455 John Deeres. Okay, dualed up, and we had a field cultivator, and then we got another field cultivator. So we had two field cultivators. And we would both run, Dad and I would both go and we'd run and, you know, get that early crop of weeds.
Yes.
Take them out in the spring, like the field pennycrest and the cheat and the henbit. We'd get that all worked down, and then we'd work it one more time. I would usually run in front of the planter and field cultivate it one last pass at just a slight angle. And if you didn't do it right, you got to do it again.
And water hemp wasn't near the problem then, was it, as it is now?
No, but Roundup worked then, too.
Sure.
So, but we had those two tractors in the field, okay, with the twins. And
weren't racing by any chance.
Well, one neat thing is we had one field that was 5 acres. Okay. Dad and I both pulled into that field with two 24-foot field cultivators.
Okay.
So I start
race.
on one side and I start on the other, and you're always pacing like, how's he, these are the same tractor. How is he going like a 1/10 of a mile an hour faster than me?
Yeah.
Or vice versa. And you know what my dad would do every time we were in the same field together?
No.
He would play chicken with me.
Okay.
Well, you know, when we're trying to finish up the field and we're both
Is this
working.
Recreational tillage?
No, this was not
sport.
Recreational.
Strictly sport.
This was to see who was going to turn first. And we would be heading towards each other with the edge of our field cultivators.
Yeah.
And you would have to judge and then not, you know, so you crash them together, but we would try to meet at the end, and he would not go and work one of the ends or something. He would have to wait until all the center was done before we worked the ends. But, you know, I was like in the 4th grade when we started doing that. And I remember the first time he did that, I'm like, my eyes got big and I hit the clutch. But, you know, you have fond memories of...
Sure, that was fun, wasn't it?
Doing that, because you got to go somewhere, and then it's like, man, this field takes forever to field cultivate by yourself. But with two, it was...
You made it fun.
You made it fun.
Yeah.
But, you know, and then at the end of the day, you'd come home, and then you'd argue over who covered more of the field than the other.
Well, yeah, sure. That was fun.
You know, or you have a field that's got some straight rows, then a bunch of point rows. Who could make it to that spot to get the straight running first? But, you know, we were effectively tilling that ground, you know. But one thing we've got to watch with that tillage is, you know, the neighbor has a pond that has silt in it. Okay, I've got a pond that has silt. And
awfully good soil.
It's very good soil.
I saw that.
So, I really like my chisel.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It stayed parked for several years, and I got it back out a couple of years ago.
When you was just strictly no-till?
Well, I was doing just minimal till.
Mm-hmm.
Some no-till, some minimal till. But we got the chisel back out, and we started building up. We were pushing the fertilizer rates higher, trying to build up the soil.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that fertilizer will slowly move down through the soil.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when you go and you chisel that, you are building that whole zone up quicker, and getting that fertilizer worked in and mixed in that top,
6 inches.
6 or 8 inches of soil as deep as we could get that chisel to go in.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that has let me, sped up that process. And we broke up some compaction layers. And that helped, even though I have small spots that are low along like a ditch, or it helps the drainage on those. But I can't go and chisel those every year, or they're going to erode too easy. So how can we balance that? Then the pond silts in. Ponds silt in, or if everybody's taking the ponds out, things it washes away.
Mm-hmm.
And we look at like terraces. Terraces, you love them, but you hate them because it takes longer to work the field. And I think somebody with a coloring book drawed them out and made them in squiggly lines. And I don't think they've ever worked a field the way they line some of those out with a C on 3 sides of a field. They draw a C towards the road or the hedge, and then they leave you with nothing but point rows. You kind of got to wonder about that sometime. But, those terraces.
With no patience and gets in a hurry like you, that doesn't work well, does it, Bradley?
Well, but like on those, if you do too much tillage on those every year and recreational tillage, then your terraces that were this tall are now silted in.
Yep.
So then you have to take a blade or a scraper and pull the dirt back. And that's not doing good to the farm either. So we look at like, well, how can I integrate a cover crop, or how can I use no-till?
Yeah, and what's all this doing to your organic matter and so forth? I mean, it's disrupting it, no doubt.
Right. But when we do the tillage, it does add oxygen to the soil.
It does.
And when we have more oxygen, we have mineralization, and then we have more nutrients available to the plant.
Mm-hmm.
But are we helping it right now and not paying off in the long term?
Mm-hmm.
Where is that at?
Where does it go?
Well,
it is still in the field.
Well,
correct. Always a question I've had. You've lost all your organic matter. Where'd it go?
Well, you remember? It was Johnny Horton, the Battle of New Orleans. Yes. All the way down to the Gulf of Mexico.
Yes.
That's old school there for you, and it was old school all the way down to the Gulf of Mexico.
You're not old enough to remember that.
Well, there's one of those things that if you actually listen to like your father and he makes some suggestions,
yes,
and you like, okay, I'll type it in on YouTube, and you find it, and you're like, oh my gosh, that's a cool song, and I pass that on to even my kids that's a cool song. But some things you pass down from generations,
sure.
Like I like the field cultivator because Dad liked the field cultivator,
You didn't do the mowboard. Miles can find any song you come up with. Isn't that cool?
Their ratings would be so much higher if they played this every morning.
I think they would too. There you go singing again. Please quit, Bradley. Don't sing.
And see, here's the part. Mississippi to the Gulf
There's
of Mexico.
Where our organic matter has went.
That's all your silt down to the Gulf of Mexico.
All your topsoil and everything. Way to go, Miles. That's good.
Okay. But that's the.
Can we play it again?
Oh.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting it. You're quick.
But, that's what we got to control. Do we have a way to filter that? Do we have to keep that? Because I like some benefits of tillage, but on our HEL ground, highly erodible land, we can't do all that tillage all the time. That makes NRCS people are probably shaking and getting nervous that I'm even talking about deep tillage. But
there's a place for it.
There is a place for it.
It is a tool in the toolbox.
You know, and I love what cover crops do for the soil biology. I love it that it keeps soil in place. And when I can have a field of rye or wheat and we get a big rain in the spring,
you bet.
And that soil stays in place, and you go and you see water running down the waterway or the creek, and it is not brown.
It's clear.
It's clear.
Yes.
So
that's a big deal.
That is good for the environment, but we've got to also maintain yield. And this year, when I've been out combining ground that was cover cropped, I'm not seeing it. I've got the expense of the cover, and then I've got the lower yield. They don't pay no bills. That cost me. I spent more and got less. And also on the weed control, I'm good
at that.
Well, I had that residue out there, and I sprayed the pre, and all that residue intercepted the pre, and that residual herbicide didn't make it down to contact with the soil, and it didn't do me. I didn't get the benefit of it, and I had later flushes of weeds, and especially like on these seed beans we're growing, some WXR 7379s.
Oh yeah, aren't they something?
Well, I'm growing seed beans there, and now I've got some nightshade in one field that couldn't come in for seed.
Right.
You know, so that costs me on having the cover on that one because of that weed control issue. I have to take them on to town.
I know, but those others was beautiful, and we'll talk more about that in just a minute, Brad. We've got to go to another commercial break. But when we'll come back, we'll talk to Brad some more. Maybe Miles will play us another song on 680 KFEQ.